Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffy Kennedy. Also writing is Jennifer K. Lambert, author of Epic Fantasy Romance. I'm here with my first cup of coffee. Delicious. Today is Tuesday, August 26th. Uh, my Aunt Karen's birthday. Shout out to my Aunt Karen. Happy, happy birthday. We've always had very close birthdays together. Well, of course, I'm the 22nd, she's the 26th. So, yeah, my whole life. Yeah. Um, I apologize that I did not record a podcast on Friday. I know I said I would. I did not. Mea culpa. Um, I ended up having to go down to Bubonicon early. Uh, and I thought I was going to squeeze in a podcast before I went, and then I didn't. But the good news is I had a great time at Bubonicon this year. It was amazing. I was Toastmaster, and that was fun. I got to interview the guests of honor, and everyone said I did a great job. So that makes me happy. I got complimented several times on my moderating abilities, which is very pleasing to me because I do try hard. Yeah. So, what else? Oh, also, thanks to Ashby, who brought me this beautiful latte mug that matches my teapot that I got for my birthday last year. Uh, yeah. So let's see. What is there to tell you all? I am doing fine on this revision. I think it's coming along pretty well. I talked about it last week and Among the Thorns, obviously, and I'm at almost 60% on the revision. So, very hopeful that I will get it done by this weekend when I have to go drive to Tucson to get mi madre, bring my mom back with her kitties to visit for a little bit. So, it's funny because now that Bubonicon is over, which is, for those not in the know, our local SFF con down in Albuquerque. Uh, it is, yes, named for bubonic plague because we are one of the last, if not the last place with bubonic plague in the wild. So yeah, and the logo is a rat. Our mascot is a rat. I figured out that this was my 10th year going to Bubonicon. So yeah, that's funny, isn't it? I think I missed one year, but yeah, it was great. A lot of people were there this year. It was we're kind of back up to pre-pandemic numbers, and yeah, it was just a really good time. All the panels were really good. All the conversations were great. I got to hang out with all kinds of wonderful people. Had dinner with George R. R. Martin one night and his assistant Twig, and Twig and I got to have a breakfast together and catch up. Arkady Martine and Vivian Shaw, Ursula Vernon, who's also T. Kingfisher, was there. We hung out a bit. Delilah S. Dawson was one of the guests of honor, and Joe Haldeman was the other guest of honor. And it was great to get to know Joe better, and of course, love Joe's spouse, partner, and turns out financial support for many years, Gay Haldeman. Just really good people. Melinda Snodgrass was there. We had a great time with her. Dorinda Jones got to hang out with Dorinda a number of times, so that was really nice just to have that friend time with Dorinda. Who else am I forgetting? Diana Rowland. Good times hanging out with her. Um, Jim Sorensen. Jim Sorensen got a room full of people to sing happy birthday to me, which was very sweet of him and kind of funny. You think like the restaurant with the sombreros is bad. A hall full of people singing you happy birthday is like another experience entirely. But it was, Jim said he asked several people if anyone thought that I would hate it. And everyone agreed that I would not hate it. And I And they were right. In fact, I did. I loved it. It was really lovely. And it turned out that it was my birthday and the day after the Haldeman's 60th anniversary. 60. Impressive. So, it's a good time of the month, good time of the year. Uh, yeah, so let's see. What else? I already talked about that I'm working on this um, revision, the revision that will never die. But I do think it's working fine. I think it's working better. Um, we shall see. I have been almost done reading Mansfield Park, uh, which I had never read, and my friend Kelly had said she was doing a reread of it. So it's been interesting reading Mansfield Park because I don't actually know the ending. And I do love it when I can go into a book, especially one as well known as that, because I've never seen any of the shows either, that I don't know where it's going. And I love it when a romance, and this is a romance. I mean, there's a lot of other elements to it, which there are in romances. I should do a little aside to tell you that I did get referred to as a romance writer a couple of times at Bubonicon because people at science fiction fantasy conventions always have to say something about me being a romance writer as if I don't write fantasy. And so it's weird because it's people treat like as soon as there's a capital R romance in the story that somehow I've said it many times that it's like the antimatter and that it cancels everything out. Um, but I want to talk about Mansfield Park. I'm getting summoned by the kitty for rescue, but I don't want to lose my train of thought there. Uh, yes, Mansfield Park is about many things. And it's interesting because Austen is sometimes criticized for ignoring or leaving out or glossing the uh, the political things going on at the time, but she actually doesn't. It's just there in the background of their lives. And in this one, it's it's still background. She doesn't go into it, but it's very clear that the Lord of Mansfield Park, he has to go to Antigua for a while to deal with problems there, and it's implied that he's dealing with slave uprising, and that is where the money is coming from. And so she never explicitly goes into slavery is really bad and this kind of thing. But this is something I talk about a whole lot, right? That I really feel like you want the agenda to be second to story. And it's enough. It's enough to have that in there and to have that kind of implicit uh, criticism. Austen is very deft in not letting you know who she as the author thinks is a good or bad person. And there are a lot more very gray, morally gray characters in Mansfield Park. People where, yeah, I'm not sure how it's going to come out. I'm not sure how it's going to fall out with all of the people. And so I've been enjoying the read, although it's been a slow read. I feel like my concentration just hasn't been good. I could tell you when I started this book, and it was a while ago. Um, yeah, I've been reading it all month. I started it on August 2nd. So I need to kind of getting some focus back. And so, yeah, I kind of touched on this before that I keep feeling like now that Bubonicon is done, that I'm done with travel, and I am done with con travel for a little while, but I do have to do a couple more things of travel with my mom. But at least it's not con travel, I guess. So, um, all right, I'll go rescue the cat. Okay, kitty cat gets hung up and calls for me on his harness. Uh, yeah, so let's see. Other things. It was Bubonicon is a nice con because it is small and intimate, and we're all hanging out in the single hotel bar together a whole lot of the time. And so, Oh, I didn't mention Michael Cassett or Connie Willis. Did I mention them? I got to hang out with them too. There's so many people, so many really great writers and creators that are there that it's just, yeah, unparalleled. But yeah, I went and had breakfast with Twig, who used to be manager of Beasley Books, which is George's bookstore. And now Twig is full time assistant to George and really doing an amazing job at it. Everyone was commenting on how well Twig is handling that job. It's part like secretary, organizer, keeping track of all the things, anticipating George's needs. And of course, George is getting a little bit older. Although, you know what? He looks great. After the opening ceremonies, I came out and George walked up to me and was smiling and happy. And he was like, hi. And we talked a little bit about the shithead at Worldcon. Actually, I should tell you, I shouldn't assume everyone knows at Worldcon, George was on a panel. I may have mentioned this already, but yeah, George was on a panel with Brandon Sanderson. And Brandon Sanderson really got his start because Robert Jordan picked him to finish the Wheel of Time series because Robert Jordan had gotten too old to do it. And so he tapped Brandon Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson finished it. And I think very arguably this is what made Sanderson's career. He's gone on to do other things, but yeah. So they're on a panel together, and someone stood up and said to George, since you're probably going to die soon, are you going to pick someone like Brandon Sanderson to finish your Song of Ice and Fire series? And I mean, I'm just going to say this since clearly it needs to be said, but don't do this, people. Don't. Everybody has understandable frustration that A Song of Ice and Fire is not finished. It comes out of love and passion. People want to know how the story ends. Besides the HBO miniseries, they want George's ending. They want George to finish writing it. We all want George to finish writing it. But pointing out to him when he is actually not all that old either, and he's lost a bunch of weight, he's taking Ozempic, and he's looking spry, and he's feeling good. You don't say to somebody, since you're probably going to die soon. And I can tell you all right now with great authority that George and I are not close, but we are friendly. And I can promise you that George is never, ever, ever going to have someone else finish that series for him. He's had offers, he's had opportunities. He is going to finish it himself. He says it's the longest book he's ever written. He's 70% through it. If he says that, I believe him. And he's not going to die soon. People, have some humanity. You creators are just people who happen to write books, right? They're not this parasocial quasi-human that you get to, I don't know, rope into doing whatever you want them to do. So anyway, George and I talked about that a little bit, and while he was kind of sad about it because he's human and wow, um, he was also perky and really engaged and having a great time at the con. So I don't remember how I got on that. Oh well. Um, I guess I was talking about, oh, yes, because Twig is being his assistant. So Twig and I went and had breakfast. And it's interesting when a number of your friends start talking to you about things, like saying things to you when you're hearing, well, you all know I'm a Taoist. And so I do believe that the universe speaks to us in various ways. And I think that when your friends start saying things along particular themes, that it is partly their love for you, obviously, but also it's the universe speaking to you. It's sending you messages, right? So the Wednesday before Bubonicon, I had lunch with my friend Chantal. Sorry, Minerva Spencer. I probably just outed her, but I don't think it matters. And she was talking to me about outsourcing some things. And we were talking about, I was saying that I was kind of thinking about outsourcing my social media. And she said she thought I should absolutely do that. Because the thing is I'm falling behind. I know I'm falling behind. It's not just the skipping the occasional podcast. I know that, like with the Katherine Heigl TikTok thing, that was amazing. And I'm not using TikTok well. I don't like it. And I've long advised, if you don't like a particular form of social media, don't do it because it shows. Um, but I also need to be capitalizing on that. And I've been falling behind on my, um, Instagram and so forth. Uh, I had to do this year because I left on early Friday morning on my birthday. I missed like all of the Facebook happy birthday posts. I wasn't online all weekend, which was actually really good for me. Finding these ways to protect my energy, uh, not being online is a big one. But I feel bad because always before I have managed to do individual replies and thank yous to the birthday wishes because I really do appreciate them. I love that people wish me happy birthday and sing to me. But this year I just, because I didn't get online until, well, really Monday afternoon, because I had to work first. So I just did the big thank you post, um, which I don't like doing, and I know a lot of people do. Anyway, um, so yeah, Minerva Spencer was saying, I think that's a really great idea. You should absolutely hire someone to do your social media. So I talked to Assistant Corrine about that, asked her how she would feel, and she very graciously said, if you want to get a new assistant, you can, I'll understand. And I'm like, no, I don't want a new assistant. She's great at the things that she does. I want someone who will work with her, who will interface with her. Uh, yeah, and that she would like do a whole lot of making of the calls. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. If anyone is interested in doing my social media, hit me up in comments. You know how to find me. I do look at a lot of my DMs, more or less. Anyway, there's multiple ways to reach me. Or if you know someone really good. But there's a twist. Keep listening. So when I was talking to Twig over breakfast, and I was sort of regaling him with the story of my book tour and like some of the, like my terrible awful Saturday. If you've been listening, you know about that day where like everything was going wrong, and Twig was wanting to know how it went, uh, and if how I felt about traveling alone. And generally, I felt fine traveling alone. I've traveled alone a whole lot, but also I was feeling like it would have been helpful to have someone with me. And Twig volunteered. He's so sweet. He was like that I wouldn't have to pay him. That if as long as I paid his costs, and that he would just take vacation from Georgia and go with me. Just have someone help with like the mental bandwidth of things. Like if I had had someone just to handle that stupid thing of finding me a mouse, it would have made a huge difference just in the mental load. So Twig thinks that I need someone who will be a physical assistant who can travel with me and do my social media, who would, you know, like I can feed them content and they'll, remind me to take pictures and help me take videos and all this thing. And I don't know, Twig keeps talking about me being on this upward trajectory and that it's only going to get worse. And a huge part of me feels like this is the peak and it's all downhill from here. Um, I I don't know why. That's it'll be interesting to see. Twig is convinced that it's like skyrocket trajectory, but I'm not George R. R. Martin either. We'll see. So anyway, yeah, I I don't know who this person would be, but I definitely want someone who is great at TikTok, who really loves doing the social media thing, who would potentially be willing to travel with me to some of this stuff. And yeah, I mean, the thing is I can't pay a huge salary either. So, it'd be part time, but this is what I'm thinking. So, on that note, I am going to get to work on this revision, try to catch up on some of these business things I'm behind on, but I will talk to you all on Friday. You all take care. Bye bye.